Good evening and welcome. I'm your host, Bob Pace. And we're starting a little bit early tonight. Instead of at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we're starting at uh, uh, 6 o'clock. So I hope everybody had a nice day, nice weekend. If I haven't talked to you, some of those and stuff. But anyway, um, I want to welcome you. Had a guest scheduled, but I don't see them yet. So maybe the guests will come shortly. A couple of things about this podcast. This is a live podcast produced by Vincent W. Davis Associates, the law firm. I want to thank Mr. Davis for providing this forum. Also, he says to call him if you need help. It's 888-888-6582. If you need help, call Mr. Davis. If you need help. I'll talk further about Mr. Davis when I do my show on that. So, whatever day you had, it's evening time. I know I try to fix dinner before the show, but it's early. But I'll have dinner for my family. This is broadcast from my home in Southern California. The law firm is in Southern California, too. But we are worldwide. You found us through Facebook, and I'm broadcasting on YouTube, and I'm using an application called StreamYard. And if you want to text a message to me, that is great. That is great. You want to text that message, and please provide your name and your city and state. Your city and state. And also what you want to talk about. Now, I'm open to everywhere because I've had Australia and I've had Canada, United Kingdom, Ghana, and Mexico call me. So our broadcast is worldwide and people have CPS problems. This is a room to talk about CPS, which stands for the Child Protection Services or Child Protection System. The Child Protection System includes the Child Protection Services, but there may be different acronyms or different names. Anything that deals with protection of our children through abuse and neglect. It also is supposed to do what's called family reunification. If there's a hiccup in the family, then the hiccup can be cured and the family be brought together. Because studies have shown the best parents for kids is the biological parents. Not foster parents, not other people, strangers. It's the biological parents. So they're very precious, our children. Now, if you want to talk and be my guest right now, I'm open because I have nobody that's called in. All you have to do is call my office phone, 626-698-0990. And you'll be connected to my phone. It's only good during this hour. And I'll gladly let you talk on the phone on speaker. And you can tell about your story. And maybe you can help out others. I try to help because, I've been involved in CPS for 14 years. Now, if you don't feel like talking, that's fine. That's not a problem. You can also email to my producer, Grace, who works very hard to produce these shows. And she can be emailed at grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. It's scrolling across the bottom of my screen. So it's right there. And the phone number to call me in is 626-698-0990. And to make comments, you look for the comment section of YouTube and you can make the comment. All I ask is your name and your city and state and then what your comment's about. It should be CPS related. We really don't talk about other forums. There's a lot of things going on in this world. So my phone's on. I'm standing by for your message or if you want to call in. And so you got yourself in a pickle. You got yourself in the worst agency that I've come across. I've been fighting for 14 years. Now, who are these guys? I mean, people all the time ask me, what is so, CPS is a government agency. It's this child protection system. There's a lot of problem there because they think it should be CPS everywhere. When it says CPS, it's talking about the child protection system. In California, the services are called Child Protection Services. In other states, it's DCF, the Department of DCW, Department of Children Welfare. Other states are indifferent. So no matter what the increment is, it's a branch of social service. It wasn't until about, 1875 when things started happening in the CPS system. Now, the CPS system is divided into three eras. Colonial period, when the colonies being formed into 1875, and then the second era is from 1875 to 1962, and then 1962 to today is the third era. And there's been some notable changes along the way. In 1974, there's an act that organized how to report children and how to protect them better. There's another act of 1980. There's one that's called the ICWA the Indian Children Welfare Act of 1975. And so all these acts, all the things, it's important to know who CPS is. Now, CPS is an agency that is supposed to, really take care of children, be nice to their parents, but it's not the case. I'm going to tell you right now that over 500 some people I've been talking to across the country, and including myself, I'm talking firsthand about myself. It's not a friendly place. They like to put them in what's called a foster care system. The foster care system can be a shelter, a group home, or a single family home. And the purpose they do that is that people like to volunteer, and also they found out by protecting the children until the parents can get better or get on their feet or where the problem is, they're better. Now, there's other children aid societies. In 1853, there was a children aid society, started still going today. There's other children societies that do a lot of help to give aid, but they don't really supposed to take care of children. This child protection system is the system that's best to take care of the children, but it has some flaws in it. And one of the things is money. It seems like no matter what I read, it's a money-making business that's got on hand. It's $1 billion business. I know firsthand. I had a CPS case in Southern California. And the director who I tried to work with or talk to and everything like that worked out of a Taj Mahal of a building. I mean, it looked like the Taj Mahal of India. And when you go to the building, it also looks like the Emerald City of the Wizard of Oz. It's all green. It's very futuristic. It's a lot of money put on architect. I didn't see it being put on the children. A lot of unnecessary. It's nice, if they want to be there, but they look like they're at a rich place. And the director that I met, he had so much gold around his neck, he almost fell over on his face. They make money. They make money by giving the social workers bonuses. All the social workers that work in the child protection system get paid bonuses. It's a lot of money. It's not small chump change. I know firsthand when I talked to my social worker, she was a young girl. She didn't have a college degree, had no classes in social work, was not mentored, didn't mentor anybody. Suddenly at age 22, she's supposed to be authoritative. Not only that, all the social workers think they're doctors. They can prescribe drugs for emotional problems. They think they're doctors that get diagnosed if a parent has an emotional problem or if a child has an emotional problem. No, those are licensed clinical psychiatrists. They're not social workers in the child protection system. CPS is what you have to deal with. And the person, who has now talked to you about getting your children, taking your children from your home with, and you didn't know about giving up your children or all those things there. There's a lot of things you don't know. And it's like, it's a spaghetti mess when you go into the child protection system. In the child protection system, You're going to be like Alice in Wonderland, going through this weird place, falling in a rabbit hole, and then you got to deal with all these doors that go nowhere. They don't help you. They're not transparent. They're not fair to you, and they treat parents really bad. In 2015, I'd turned 60, and unfortunately, I lost a job through no fault of my own. And I started getting these reports, my wife and I, about something wrong with our children, the way we're taking care of our children. Now, I was laid off. I've been working all my life. I mean, I had over 40 years of working there. I've had 59 years total. But with that being said, it was really a hard time because these allegations came in and I had to disprove them all. And I later found they're from a layperson. You see, there's two ways that allegations are reported: one by professionals that have to report it, and two by lay people that report it. And a lot of them wanted to alienate the children from the parents or take revenge. It could be a neighbor you don't like that doesn't like your dog or your bushes or trees. They're going to retaliate. And then one of the easiest ways to retaliate is called CPS. They believe everything that they receive is truthful, and the person it's about, they're guilty until they're proven innocent. It's the only court of law that you're guilty until you're proven innocent. You're better off in criminal court than you are in CPS court. That's why I tell you, you need an attorney. That's my first rule. An attorney is the key to getting your kids back. And you're going to tell me, no, I don't have money. I know that you don't have money. I mean, I've been homeless. I have no money. I had to sell my house that I worked 40 years to get so that I could have my children back. Now, I'm a family man. I've been married twice. I'm college educated. I have a Bachelor of Science in Marine Biology and a teaching credential in secondary education. And I've worked some really unreal jobs as a marine scientist on board a research vessel, as an animal trainer, training animals as big as killer whales, as an ocean lifeguard, as a manager of a seafood restaurant. Those are just some of the jobs. The latest job I'm working is working in the civil engineering field, heavy highway and civil engineering, construction, either as a manager, inspector, an estimator, a project manager. And, I've been a senior one for a long time. And I find it very hard because the reason why I lost my job is not because of my performance, it's because of the work that I acquired by bidding jobs at the state of California, and they ran out of money. They were faced the same problem that the city of Detroit was going through. But the whole state of California is verged to collapse. And the governor at that time said, I know what I'll do. We'll get IOUs to all these contracts. Well, these contracts were bid with public funds. It's against the law. And I'd have to hire an attorney to sue them. I don't have that money. You see, this is a sad thing. And I got the IOUs. I thought, oh, great. I can go ask a bank for a loan, a credit line. They did not want to do anything. They didn't care. In fact, the banks have been upset since 2007 through their own stupidity that they allow predator loans that where the documents are altered and the income is doubled or tripled raised, so they qualify for something, so the lender gets a bonus. And I'm one of those people too. I got a home that I couldn't understand why I qualified. Later saw the documents that was changed and fixed and everything. I did a lawsuit. What did I get? A measly $5,000. I tell you, lost my home, lost my beautiful home, lost all my equity from my previous home. It was a hard loss for me to take, but I got my kids back. It's the bottom line to get my kids back, except one, my daughter. And that's another tragedy. I was going through so many tragedies. When you lose your kids, you have a predator loan, your savings, your retirement savings, that you worked for 40 years, half of it was gone because it was invested badly by the company in stocks and bonds that crashed and things. And then my mom and dad were dying, and that was what got me in trouble. Not because of my mom and dad, but because of their belongings. And I wanted to help them out. And I took the belongings to my home. And when they finally got into my home and saw the belongings, they said, oh, you're neglecting your children. Those boxes could hurt the kids. The furniture could go up there. It was terrible. It was terrible, terrible what the police do with the social workers. Between the police department, there's a detective, and he was sitting there mirroring with the social workers and charging. Only thing he had something called sex charges. He wouldn't tell me what they were, but he gave me 3 counts of sex charges and 3 counts of child neglect. And that in the two of them there, I did not know that they use the sex charges thing as a trading card. They're hoping that you will make a deal with them. So they nursed it for a year. And I wish I'd not make the deal, but I said, all right, drop the sex charges, drop the charges on my wife for neglect and sex, and I'll settle for the neglection of what will it cost me. It cost a year of probation. It's a misdemeanor, but I had to do all kinds of programs at my expense. I had to work at a shelter. It was a miserable experience for a year. Drug tested every week, even though I don't do drugs. Inspected by the probation officer every week. It was terrible. My neighborhood was saying, "Why are they coming?" I said, "Oh, they're all high school friends," and they came over to talk to me a little bit because they'd come over with a flacker. See, policemen are the most intimidating people around. And I know they have to be. They have to be tough guys because it's a tough world out there. And you don't know if you're an officer pulling up to the side of the door, the windows down, that guy's got a loaded gun ready to blow your head off. So I don't blame him, but there's certain reasonable measures you can do. And it seems lately they don't seem to be caring that much. I don't know. I'm really discouraged about that. So anyway, I have 6 children. I had one with my first wife, my firstborn. She's now 32, be 33 this May. I've not seen her since 30 years ago when she was 3 years old. I did not want a divorce, but I had to get a divorce. I hate that. They don't believe in better for worse or work it out or do anything like that. When people change, sometimes they have to go, I guess. But anyway, fortunately, I met a beautiful woman that I married, been with her for 32 years. But lately, we've been in a rocky, rocky relationship because this child protection thing is revisiting old wounds. It does not leave you. She and I had 3 biological children together. At the time of this happening, they were ages 9, 12, and 15. But all 3 of them are messed up. My daughter and 2 sons, they still are today. I mean, it was sad. My son, who went through 4 years of college and went to a private school and did straight and stuff, in his second semester, his senior year, he dropped out. And I'm trying to get him to turn around and maybe go back and take school again and reunite and get a college degree. Because CPS, they destroy families. I had a perfect functional family, a family that would go out, that loved each other. We played sports, did Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We were participating in their schooling. They went to the best school that money could afford. And they, wanted to pursue a STEM track. That's a science class, a technology class, an engineering class, a mathematics class every semester they're in school. That's 4 years of that. So, my 2 sons want to be engineers. My daughter, I think she wanted to play volleyball as a sport. And when she divorced us, at the age of 12, she was told by the social worker, divorce your parents, change your name, and seal the birth certificate. That's how social workers act. And a lot of you probably think, oh, that's not true. I said, well, yes, it is. She threatened my wife that she'll never see her daughter again. Why? Well, I need to address some people that have texted in, and I feel so sorry. I have my scroller not down all the way. Together we'll break production. Hello there. I have no idea what city or state you're from. Glad to meet you together. We have Rosemary Lombardo. Rosemary Lombardo. I have a pretrial tomorrow. Good news is that I have a private attorney. That is good news. That is good news. Good job. Good job. And this is more from her. You see, I'm starting my super visits for the second time tomorrow. Let me get that there. First time my daughter has been in her home in 1 month and seen her siblings. Oh, I'm so happy. I'd love for you to talk on our show and talk about that, Rosemarie. I don't know what city or state you're from, but it'd be nice if you could put it in there. She says she has weekends with my daughter. They took them away, but now someone from the SPC Center has to sit with us. Great. I don't know who the SPCC Center is, but you probably have monitor visits. And you have to understand, social workers flip flop. They tell you one thing and do another thing. Be careful of that. Have your attorney tell your attorney everything. Yes, false allegations. I believe that I had false allegations against mine. They took my kids that weren't in intimate danger. They took them out of my home and put them in intimate danger. They don't care. She says, this person is body glass flaws. Okay, I don't know what city or state you're from, but they took my son, told me to take 4 classes. I took them, done after 4 months. I didn't get my son back after 2 years with the judge going along with everybody else, everything from the state. I'd like to hear more from you, Body Glass. If you want to be on my show, you can call in. I'd love to hear from you. Together we break. Okay, he just said congratulations to Lombardo. Well, that's great. And Rosemarie laughed. Okay. And then together we break. Oh, my bad. Okay. And then Rosemarie, I don't read everything, my bad. Okay. I'm trying to put these in to catch up with you. You guys came in and I had my scroller down. My comments were down below. Bodyglass says, it also messes up my life as I'm now scared to even tell my son no. Don't be scared. Do not be scared. In fact, all of you, that one of you would like to talk, that would be great because I'd love to hear all of you. Together Break, Bodyglass Flaws, Rosemarie. There's 3 of you that have called in that I'd love to have you talk on the show. So my number is 626-698-0990. And that's my direct line, and I'll answer the phone. Because I'm only 23 minutes in the show. It's an hour-long show. It's an hour-long show. I don't know where all you guys are from, but it'd be nice if you tell me so that I'm making comparisons because every state's been represented on my show. I've talked to every state, it seems like now. I don't know if I've talked to New Mexico. No, I did. Albuquerque, New Mexico, I did talk. Utah, I talked to Utah. And Oregon, Washington, California, Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma, I have. Louisiana, I don't think I've talked to anybody from Louisiana, but Florida, Massachusetts. So I talked to you all. And again, I'm so happy to have you here. But Bodyglass, don't be afraid to tell your son no. You have to do discipline. It's important. Now, Rosemary says, my daughter has been something. She has been in 4 different foster homes. It is sad. Yes, they move around the kids. They do that purposely. You see what CPS is good to lately? They're doing child trafficking. They want to keep the case open so they get their $20,000 per child per month. I know some of these facts are true. There's one lady I was talking to. She works as a cashier at one of those cash check places. And she saw a check for $14,000 to a foster care parent. Now, why would a foster care parent have to go to a cash check place to cash a $14,000 check? That's kind of a quirk there that, I think they're. Oh, someone told me where they're from. Good. Rosemary, she's from Rochester, New York. Glad to have you. So you're about the 5th person from New York. So I'm glad to have you, Rosamond Lombardo. That's great. That's great. Again, I want to tell everybody that if you wanted to talk on the show, all you have to do is call 626-698-0990. But if you want to talk another time as a guest, you write in an email to my producer, Grace at VincentWDavis.com. That's Grace at VincentWDavis.com. I want to thank Mr. Davis for producing this show. And that if you need help, call him at 888-888-6582 and he will help you. He will help you. So let me see here. Rochester. I don't know where Body Glass flows from. Together We Break Production. And who else? Together We Break. Okay, so anyway, I just get an idea. It's no biggie. If you don't want to. Oh, Portland. Someone said Portland, Oregon. Who is that? Oh, Body Glass from Portland, Oregon. So we have Rochester and Portland. All we need to know is Together We Break Production. Together We Break Production. It'd be nice from. Anyway, with that being said, I need to go over a couple rules. The first rule is a very important rule. That means you need to get your attorney. And why do you need an attorney? Well, Rosemary says she's got an attorney. And the reason being is that when you do open heart surgery on your heart yourself or have a layman do the surgery, no, you're going to get a professional doctor who's gone to medical school, that has done an internship, that's mentored other doctors and become a doctor with a license and everything else. That's why you need an attorney. Attorneys are professional, and you need a family law attorney. And I tell people looking for attorneys, look up family law attorneys and then get a list of 10 names. From there, narrow it down to 5 attorneys that do work with CPS cases. 5 attorneys do work with CPS cases. Then you want to interview those 5 attorneys and find which one matches your chemistry and that you can afford and that can give you references and tell them about what they've done. Because you need to do that. Now, I got an attorney that'll be in that top 5. That's Vincent Davis. In fact, I think he's the best. I think he's your number 1 choice. And right now, he is offering consultation for $49.99. That's $50 for 30 minutes. And it's well worth it. It's well worth to talk to him about that. So with that being said, call in Mr. Davis at 888-888-6582. Schedule an appointment for the consultation. And he'll talk to you. Make sure you tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And that if you talk to Mr. Davis, tell him that Bob Pace sent you. So I'm telling you that attorney is the one that's going to be able to solve your problem. Because for a year and a half, I didn't. I tried to fight the director of CPS, Child Protection System, or the service out here in California. And I, fought them with meetings and everything because they were violating my civil rights. They violate your civil and constitutional rights. It's terrible. And you can do a lawsuit, but then again, it takes money. That's the sad part about anything. Attorneys make a lot of good money off the lawsuit against CPS because they charge quite a lot of percentage to get it. So anyway, the first rule is to get an attorney. And if you can talk to Mr. Davis, you'll probably retain him. He works in the Southern California, but he does Northern California, and he does other states around the country. He only has more fees, a little bit more fees for his transportation and his accommodations. But depending on your case, how long it's been going on, and the complexity is going to determine on his retainers. The retainers run from 5, 10, 15, 20,000 and up. It all depends on the case. But, you can get a credit line on your home, a $50,000 credit line on your home. If you have a home. If you don't have a home, then you have to ask families or friends or help. Maybe you can do a go page on Facebook. Tell them your story, and maybe people will help you out. There's always people that want to help others. And I know how hard it is. I wish I could help you out financially, but I'm really strapped right now. I'm really strapped. I have a little tiny job that barely makes money on my food for my family. I've worked it out where it's $3 a meal for 3 people, $1 per meal. That's all I have money for. And what can you in this world buy $1 for feed a family of $3 for one meal? These gas has gone up. It used to cost me $25 two round trips to the private school for my son. Now it's gone up to $30. Gas has jumped from $3.75 to $4.75. It's terrible. Milk that was at $2.52 now is $4.25. Bananas have gone up from 49 cents now to 79 cents. Pineapples used to be $1. Now I went shopping tonight and it's like costing me an extra $40 a week. And it's so hard. It really is so hard. So I know I've been homeless. I've lived in an RX-7 for a period of time. I know what it is to be homeless. I know what it is to be, taken advantage by CPS. But that rule number 1, talk to Mr. Davis. You can't go wrong. Now, rule number 2 is busy work. It's the paperwork. It's the part you probably don't like to do, and I didn't do it. But it's where you get a blank notebook and you list all the incidents or all the things that happen in your CPS case. You put the date and time each one happens. You keep it in chronological order that way with dates. And then after the dates and time on the first line, you put the people that are involved. A social worker, 3 social workers, 2. If you know their names, put their names. Then the next line, or if you want to take 2 lines, that's fine. You want to put the outcome. What happened? And you may not know that right away. You may have to come back and fill it out later. But with those notes, and then you skip a couple lines because you want to have notes to be able to write. And then you put your second incident, then your third and your fourth, always skipping, leaving space. And then you can highlight it later. You can work on it. It'll come in handy if 6 months you're still going in there. See, when a case is called in, it's 25 hours or 24 hours before it has to be investigated within 24 hours. And if you open up a case, the cases usually last 48 days. Now, there's no guarantee it'll be only 48 days because I talked to many of you. Some says it's going on the 17th year. It's really sad when they take away children and get the money regularly every month. They take so advantage of the money. I know this. I had a woman on here that was from, I think it was Georgia or Kentucky, and they were doing an audit, and there's $389,000 missing from a child protective service. That $389,000. I know for a fact they just get it's highway robbery. It's highway robbery. Mm-hmm. Like to know where you are. Together we break production. So that was rule number 2. Rule number 1 is get an attorney. Rule number 2 is get a notebook and keep track of what's going on about CPS. Now, rule number 3 is so valuable and so important because it's the mistakes I made. I made rule number 1 mistake, rule number 2 mistake. But rule number 3 is you do not talk to social workers. You say, well, how can I? They're talking to me, hounding me at the door, everything. Well, you don't let them in your house. You don't answer the door. There's an answer machine. And if you do happen to bump into them outside, then all you do is say, I'll have my attorney talk to you. You don't need to have one. They don't know you don't. You just install them, keep them away. And you say you have your attorney, just get their name and number and be courteous. Same thing goes for policemen. You don't need to talk to them. They have something called a warrant, which forces you to do things. Now, if they want to come in your home, don't give them permission. If they want to take your children, do not give them permission. Always start off with saying, I need to talk to my attorney. Because if you're a representative, it's your constitutional rights to not give up your children unless they are taken by a warrant. Now, if there's imminent distress there with the children, if there's gunfire going off, kids being slammed against the wall because they're crying, yes, that's imminent danger. They're going to step in. But right now, the social workers think everything is imminent danger. The social worker thinks everything is imminent danger. And they take our children, and put them into danger. My 3 kids were taken because they thought the boxes would run upstairs and attack them, or the furniture would run upstairs and attack them. That's how crazy it was. Each of them had their rooms. Each of them, were loving kids with good schools, doing good grades. They were fed and clean and things like that. All these allegations were disproved. But they got me when they got in the home because I thought it was okay to let them in. And they saw the furniture and they said, oh, that's neglect. I'm in danger. Your kids go. So my son I picked up from school was taken from me. I should have said no, unless you have a warrant. That's scary because you don't like to be that way, but that's the way the law says. They have to have a warrant that specifically tells what they're going to do, what home they're going to visit, what date and time they're going to visit, who is going to visit, what are the allegations, and it has to be signed by a judge, a wet signature. If none of that happens, because a lot of times they use fake forms or flash a form in front of you, you don't see it. You're entitled to read it. The reason why they use police is intimidation. Because a social worker doesn't look intimidating. But if a policeman comes in battle fatigue, combat boots, flat jackets, and that mean look that they mean business, that's intimidation. That's intimidation. Policemen and social workers are public servants. They should be serving the public. They should respect elders. They don't respect me at 60 years of age, 65. Today, people that are over 70, they don't want them to work anymore. I couldn't believe when there's some talk about having new rules, regulations. I know that the DMV, California, says you have to get your license renewed in person when you're over 70. I have no idea. Maybe they're worried about they're too cool, but usually people don't drive if they have problems. And so anyway, old people suck sometimes, which age is a number, not who you are, what you look like, or how long you've been around. Age is a number. It's your years of existence on this planet. It does not reflect you. A 60-year-old man could look like a 30-year-old man. Or a 30-year-old man could look like a 60-year-old man. I've seen that too. Some people age more than others. But anyway, I've given you the 3 rules. Let's see what Rosemary Lombardo said. Okay, 13 months she spent with a public defender, went nowhere. She always goes with the department that is very bad. I agree. That is written off. That was my case. That's a case over 500 people here, Rosemary. Arizona. Drink. I don't know what you meant by Arizona drink. Huh. What does you mean by Arizona? No evidence has ever shown up on my behalf and I complete my case plan. I know that. I know that people complete their case plan. They did medical kidnapping with my daughter and brought to police. Yes, that is something new. The other day it came up to me that there's medical, it's kidnapping. They're doing it medically. They're doing medically. In fact, since you brought the medical thing there, Rosemarie, I'm going to tell you about the medical part. Let me tell you about medical kidnapping. It's something kind of that I was not aware of until a couple of days ago, and now she brought to Rosemarie. Now, I want you to pay attention if you've never heard of medical kidnapping. As parents, you try to do what's right for your kids. That includes seeking medical attention when you suspect someone is wrong. Nothing can stop your heart faster than waking up to a sick child in the middle of the night and racing to the emergency room. Well, almost nothing. Imagine as once you're through the hospital doors, your child may not be free to leave with you. Medical kidnapping scenario where the state steps in to take over child custody when doctors and parents disagree over the medical care your child should receive. The state then places your son or daughter into foster care illegally, where you may not even be granted visitation rights. Now, what can trigger medical kidnapping? Despite the courts leaning on the side of the parents maintaining custody and control over raising and caring for their children, medical facilities may not just be trying to do what you believe is your child's best interest. You may be dropping yourself and your child into a legal minefield that you can't maneuver without proper legal help. Just some of the actions that can lead to your child being held against your will include disagreements with doctors over the diagnosis or the proper treatment plan, the recommendation of a risky surgery, prescribing a drug with dangerous unknown side effects, failing to address your questions or concerns, and totally disregard your suggestions for alternative procedures or treatments. And that is happening a lot. If a doctor feels strongly, though, he or she may have you escorted out by the police while continuing to treat your child without your consent. The Department of Social Service will move quickly to obtain legal custody over your child, given the department's authority to make medical decisions for your son or daughter. This can be critically dangerous if your child was previously diagnosed with a rare condition that hospitals chosen or discounted. Terrorizing children in the name of health care. Pulling sick children away from their parents under the guise of abuse and neglect seems the cruel punishment. But often children end up in foster care become victims of real physical abuse. These children end up living with strangers when they're at their most vulnerable, making it unlikely they'll be able to fight back. In other cases, the psychological trauma inflicted can be worse than the illness that they're fighting. For example, a 13-year-old girl is fighting over liver cancer, was removed from her mother's care when that mother sought alternative treatments because her daughter wasn't tolerating chemotherapy. Second scenario, a police track down parents of a toddler after putting out a missing and endangered child bulletin. He's removed from their custody, then transported for medical treatment without the consent of his parents. These are just a few of the scenarios. And that is to talk about medical kidnapping. And it's nice that Rosemary bring up because she's not the first one. Oh, hi there, Di. I'm sorry I'm right here. I may have leaned too far back. I apologize. Di, you're new there. I was reading something in one of my tabs, and so I didn't know that it was not showing. So, Di Manquin 05, where are you from? I'd love to know what city and state you are. Yep, the nightmare begins. The nurse tells you to leave. This is what Rosemary, this is what, oops, to the wrong one. That's what Rosemary said. The nurse told me I needed to leave and the nightmare began. Oh, it's the worst nightmare. So sorry. Now, Body Glass says, I believe foster care picks and chooses what kid they take as they go to a home where the child's in danger, house, filthy kids not in school. They turn blind eye and leave, like little boy Dakota killed. Oh, wow. I didn't hear about that. Now you're saying Dakota. Are you talking about a Lakota Sioux? Are you talking about an Indian children was killed? Because I've seen the Rosebud Reservation. I'm a Native American Indian. My great grandmother's a full-blooded Lakota Sioux from the Rosebud Reservation. And since we're talking about Native American Indians, there's an act called the Indian Child Welfare Act, and it's supposed to protect Indian children. They were the first immigrants to North America. They're the first immigrants. And, they've been abused all these years, and they were still being abused into the 70s, and they finally came up with, see what's happening is that Child Protection was taking all these kids and putting them in foster care and not making an effort to do family reunification. So the Indians, they did an act and they get back there. Okay. 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 Um, so foster care does pick. I think they do. They do a lot of background checks. Who are the easiest person? His name is Dakota. Okay, I'm sorry. Body Glass is saying a a child is taken from school. You don't know until you pick the child up. Yes, they can go to school, but the law says if they go to the school, the parent has to be present if they're going to interview the child. They have to have a court order to remove a child from a school. It's a warrant. They have to have a warrant. Oh, it's YouTube said there. Okay, on a YouTube video. All right. Um, if a child's taken to school, you don't know until you pick up. That's a horrible thing. Children are taken out of the birthing room at hospitals. They're not supposed to be in there. It's against the law unless they have a warrant to go in that room and take that child because they're supposed to be in the lobby. There are case workers who work in hospitals, and hospitals are notorious to have them come in and take the child because the mother tasted positive for drugs. No, 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 no. They have to have a warrant. His name is Dakota. Okay. All right. Try not to use children's names or names of immediate people. That's why we want to keep that. Just say social worker or the city or state or whatever it is. Now you say Body Glass, his father on YouTube was taken. Wait, I'm confused. Body Glass. You said the father took the child from school, not the social worker? Yeah. Okay, they took my son from school and separate them. Do they have a warrant there, Rosemary? Do they have a warrant? Um, Let me see what else she says here. Well, you need to know the law. That's why you need an attorney. You need to know the law. The law states no one can take your child unless they have a proper authorization filled out. Beginning of school year, we all as parents have to fill out the emergency card. On there, it tells who the people can take a child away. They can only let a child go if there's a warrant. If there's a warrant to remove that child. A parent has to be called if they want to interview a child, and the parent will sit in another room. But the parent has. That happened to me and my wife, and the school was so embarrassed because the allegations were false, and they went through all this rigmarole to talk to her children. Her children said, "No, nothing's happening. No, that's not true." And it's so bad because of the false allegations. And I'm sorry you had to go through that, but you didn't know the rules. But they're not supposed to take your children. They have to have a warrant. Yep. They violated your constitutional rights. If your case is closed, Rosemary, you can file a lawsuit against them for violating your constitutional rights. You remember that emergency card you filled out and you list of who can pick up your children. And if the school didn't do that job, then they can be held in a lawsuit too. People are suing the school district for doing things. People are suing hospitals. People are suing social workers. They're wrong. You have civil rights and constitutional rights. You're protected by the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment is not about a resurrection imposed to say that the President Trump, that he's a resurrection. No, the 14th Amendment has a lot of things in there. The 14th Amendment had the right that slaves have a right to be a U.S. citizen of the United States. So, they are doing everything they can because you don't know the rules. That's why you need an attorney. Now, Daniel says, pull the records request. Yes, pull the records. You need to see that. Bodyglass says, Daniel Rott, no, the story of Dakota. They took the father and stepmom to jail. I don't know the whole story of Dakota. I'd like to hear more about it. So they took the father and stepmom to jail. Why? Was that son Dakota in imminent danger? Were the parents sitting there shooting at the kid? Were the parents picking up the kid and throw it against the wall? What imminent danger was Dakota in? All right, I'm gonna look at the news. Atlanta, is Dakota is that the boy we're talking about in Atlanta? I knew about the children being sent out of state from Atlanta because you talked about that, Danielle. You did talk about that. Some of you have been on my shows. Some of you have spoken on my shows. I understand body gloves. I'd love to hear all the stories. I've heard so many terrible ones on here. I have heard some really bad ones. I really want to help you guys. So if you talk on my show, it helps me second guessing. And I'll try to look on the YouTube for Dakota. I'm so sorry. I had to leave for a second. I told I'd be right back, but apparently I got lost off the show here. Um, anyway, I'm back, and hold on one second here. Trace, can you move? Okay, bring him here. I tell you. Okay, this is shows early tonight, and people were caught here at home that didn't know that show was going early. Um, The brakes are really scary. Okay. Let me see here. I'm definitely going to check out the YouTube story because it's crazy how. Yes, I'll try. Huh? Forward. Yeah. It's out front. Okay. Yeah, it was a sweet boy. Yeah. Pre-trial is tomorrow. Rosemary, would you like to talk on the show? We'd love to hear your show. Would you like to talk on the show? Body Class says the point is foster care people went to his home more than once, didn't take him, but took my son. What do you mean? How could foster care people take your child from your home? They're not social workers. They're not the law enforcement. Did they have a warrant? Body Glove, I'd love for you to talk on the show because it'd be great. It'd be great. You want to talk on the show? You want to talk on the show there? Oh boy. Anyway, we have about 4 minutes left. I guess it's too late to talk on the show. I might as well take the number down. Anyway, I'd hope that someone wanted to talk today better than hearing me. Okay, we have about 3 minutes left. I pretty much have covered everything. There's one important thing I want to bring up. There is the 388 motion. What are 388 motions? They're modify the juvenile court judgments in order. It's where you can modify your plan if you have new evidence or there's change in circumstances. A 388 motion. Now, maybe not called a 388 in your state, but it's a motion of juvenile court judgments and orders. That's what it describes. And so you need to have your attorney file that. It's a 388 motion there. And so they have to make sure it's served on all parties, the social workers, the children, everybody has an attorney. But it should be done by your attorney. But it forces a trial before the judge within 30 days. You get to talk to the judge. Yes, I remember you telling me, Danielle, they sent your son to Texas, and he's still there. They were supposed to bring him back way before now. They never tried to contact any family or do anything that done to my family wrong. Well, there's one agency you need to contact that will help you here. I think it is. I'm going to give that, and then I got to end my show. Let me get that thing there. I'll find it here. You need to contact the Interstate Compact, which is in charge of placement of children. And you need to contact them because if they haven't taken back your children, you need to do that. The Interstate Compact on placement of children. You need to contact the ICPC. And you also need to get your attorney. You need to get your attorney involved or get an attorney. Okay, I have about 30 seconds left. And okay, understand, Body Glove. And if you Body Glass, if you can get on the show, can you call me tomorrow morning? And at 10 o'clock, we can talk about this further, Body Glass. I want to thank Body Glass, Danielle, Rosemary, and who else? The other person here, I forgot. Early on. Diamond Quinn and Rosemary, I've already talked about. And together we break the production. Thank you all for putting your comments. And I'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Keep fighting for your kids. God bless you all. And this is Bob Pace signing off.